equally important as the topic of today, which is cleaning your Airbnb or Booking.com property so you get high guest reviews, because it's the number one focal point for most travelers is cleanliness. So the first thing we'll cover, and I'll just have my list here, but we'll cover the correct kit. Yeah. So the first thing you see, I have a mop. You want to mop with a strainer, or in this particular case, we have a spinning mop. So you put it in there, and it centrifugates the water out of the mop by spinning. Very strange, but it works well. Now, the next thing you probably would want to have, if you have high windows, a squeegee. You can fit into the bucket and take out the strainer. And this is very good for getting large surface area of windows done quickly. Next item, my personal favorite, and this is just a little tip actually. For cleaning products, what I like to do is take Dettol soap. This is hospital grade, 99.9% bacteria killing soap, and dilute it with a little bit of water, and it makes it perfect all around for tiles, porcelain surfaces, everything that needs a little bit of extra effort in cleaning. The Dettol works every time. Also has a very strong smell that leaves everything fresh. Obviously, then you want to have a broom. Let's see, to go with the broom, a dustpan. If you're doing a lot of dusting, you probably want a dustpan with a handle so you don't have to reach down all the time. And then if you have porcelain or tile floors, a squeegee. And we're almost there. We got the floor cleaner and tile. Yeah, a little bit of Windex for hand washing the windows. Then, of course, we will not forget a towel or rag for cleaning, dusting, windows, etc. And last but not least, little sponges. This is good for the bathroom, the walls, the porcelain. I usually use one sponge for the porcelain, like the toilet, and another one for the tiles, just to kind of keep it a little bit separate that way. And then finally, last thing, and of course, most essential, the toilet brush. So that's a little tour of the cleaning kit. If you can, with each unit that you're renting or whatever, ideally you have all this just in a little cupboard inside each one. Otherwise, a central cupboard and you come and go with it. Depends on your space and your space. So the next thing to do is dusting. So what you want to do is start with the high areas first. So if you have, for example, curtain rods like this, ceilings, also the tops of the doors or door frames. This is really, really important because you don't want to start low, you want to start high, because the dust falls. You get to the dust on the floor when you get to doing the sweeping. So start high, and then the next thing to cover will be the mid areas. So if you have, let's say, like some shelves, like if you've got this headboard that's a bit mid-level, like here, obviously the window sills, and as you're dusting and going along, everything will fall to the floor. It doesn't stay on the rag, and you'll get it at the end. So the next thing after that is I would go for the windows. And again, you can either use a squeegee or just by hand with the Windex. If you are doing with Windex, it's ideal and preferable to have one rag for the application of the wet and a second one for drying it off. And if you really have the ability to get paper towels, even better. It goes a lot faster than with the towel, the rag rather. So next thing, we'll go into the toilet here. And like I said, I use one sponge, the red one for the WC and the blue one for the tiles. So come on in, follow me in here. So we've got this blue one. Now, maybe you don't have to do it every time, but it's nice to clean the tiles and the sink, everything very well. Obviously, for the mirror and the fixtures, if you have chrome ones like this, window cleaner Windex is the best. It keeps it nice and shiny. And you want to do everything down to the detail. Even the bidet hose, give it a scrub. Tops of the showers, a lot of times there's dust that collects around the top of the shower head. Again, start high, and start high in the window frame if you have one. And now once you get over to the toilet, you want to start high here, outside, exterior, inside with the brush. and give it all a rinse afterwards with a bidet hose if you have one, and then let it settle, and then we'll work our way onto the floors. So with the floors, what I like to do is throw a bucket of water in here with some soap, use a little squeegee, get everything into the drain. Once you have things accumulating in the drain, come and take a close up here. You want to scrape this stuff out of here so it doesn't collect, and your guests are seeing this rise up with their feet as they're taking a shower. It's not nice. So really, really important. Clean the drains. It also goes to the sink, especially if you have people with long hair, longer than mine. Very important focal point. So now we'll go to the sweeping, like I mentioned before. So now we've done all the upper areas here. We'll go sweep through here. If you find a lot of dust for some reason, before you do the water throw on the mop in here in the bathroom, can do a sweep also in the bathroom, but usually it's not necessary. Then we will do the detailing. Now, what do I mean by detailing? Oh, look, this is detailing. Like you see these little corners and ridges in the frame. Well, you can get the dust out of there, get it off the handles. The other thing that happens very typically, if you have a lot of transit and travelers, is the light switches get quite dirty and get marks from handprints and everything. It's just not nice. People don't like to see it, and it doesn't really give a very hygienic aspect. So again, really going through the detail. And if you have these like rails, or we'll call them moldings, in the floor, you see this. You want to really, really, really get in there and start cleaning these out as well. Because all of this dust just ends up on the floor, and it can actually be quite annoying if there's gravel or something getting in a guest's foot or something like that. So always good to have some attention to the detail. And anything else that catches your eye that you wouldn't want to see in your own house, fair call. Now from here, we've done all the detailing, all the dusting, all the cleaning. So it's time for the spinny mop. So we'll just drop the mop in there. You want to make sure you have obviously your soap in there. You strain it before putting it on the floor. It's the strangest mop ever. But anyway, before you put it on the floor, you strain it, make a good round, and obviously start from the furthest point and then work your way to the door here. You can make a safe exit without leaving footprints on top of your newly clean floor. So, only final thing from here. Double check everything, give it a look. Make sure you've got the essentials as well. Perhaps you want to leave your guests a complimentary bar of soap, toothbrush, etc. Do that. Make sure the place has all of the fixtures and fittings. You've got a fresh pillow, bed sheets, linens, etc. And that's it for Michael Sands here. Thank you very much for joining. Namaste. And I hope this was useful and informative for everybody. It's just life has had many experiences, shall we say, in this particular bath, and speak from firsthand experience for this cleaning. When you have lots of multiple guests in a large number of rooms that are turning over every morning, it's really, really important to have your system down so you're not running around in circles and everybody arrives and feels comfortable like they're at home. So have a great day. Namaste. See you soon.